How many bathrooms should a house have in the UK? Now, it sounds like a simple question, but turns out it's complicated, so I'm going to explain it for you. A few weeks back, I made a video about enlarging this house in England. I created two designs for the house extension, and a lot of you were unhappy about the bathrooms. If you haven't seen the full video, I've put a link down below in the description, but long story short, many comments said there weren't enough bathrooms in the house. Now, nobody has infinite money, and if you're altering or extending a house, you don't have infinite space. More bathrooms in a house, the budget goes up, and the space for other rooms goes down. All design is about compromise. The first thing to know is that the rules about the number, size, and location of bathrooms are in the building regulations. Now, this has nothing to do with the planners. The building regulations are a completely separate thing. I've made a video explaining the difference. If you need to watch it, there's a link in the description. I'm going to explain two scenarios in this video: altering an existing home and converting a building into a dwelling. I'm not going to cover building a new house, and I'll explain why later in the video. I'm going to use both the Scottish and English building regulations because they are different from each other. I work in Scotland, but many of my consultation clients are based in England. If you want me to make a follow-up video about the regs in Wales or Northern Ireland, let me know in the comments. There are chapter timestamps below if you want to skip ahead. Let's get started. What happens if I renovate my house? The first thing to say is that building regulations don't apply retrospectively. There are loads of homes across the UK that don't comply with the building regs because they were built before those regs came into force. The regulations get updated all the time. Can you imagine the chaos if every owner in the UK was forced to get the builders in every few years to keep the place up to date? If you have an older home and all you want to do is renovate the property, the regs don't apply. If your bathroom is tiny and cramped, smaller than the minimum standards in today's regulations, you don't have to make the room bigger. You can replace that 1980s avocado bathroom suite by fitting modern appliances in the same space without needing approval. However, if you decide you do not like where your current WC or bathroom is located and you want to move it somewhere else, then get ready to comply. The regulations are interested in two things: size and location. How small can a bathroom be in the UK? Both the Scottish and English building regulations provide diagrams for toilets, bathrooms, showers, and wash basins. The Scottish regs have these grey rectangles called activity spaces, areas of floor in front of each item that must be kept clear of obstructions, including door swings. Under this system, the designer can arrange the toilet, basin, shower, or bath any way they want as long as the activity spaces are respected. This is an example from one of my own projects showing how this works in practice. The activity spaces overlap. The English regulations go into much more detail. They give actual layouts of the rooms. Now, on the one hand, this is helpful for the average person because they can just copy and paste this design into their home. On the other hand, the English regs go into lots of detail about the number and location of facilities in a home, and this gets complicated. Where should bathrooms be located in my home? Both the English and Scottish building regulations talk about the location of bathrooms in a home. Under the Scottish system, a home can have just one sanitary facility for the entire house. One room with a shower, toilet, and wash basin just like this will meet the requirements no matter the size of the property. Both the English and Scottish systems want the principal sanitary accommodation on the principal living level. That is usually the entrance level, but not always. In properties like townhouses or maisonette flats, it's the floor with the kitchen and living space. The Scottish regs also make clear that if a home has just one sanitary facility, it cannot be an ensuite. It must be accessed from the hall or living area in that home. The English regulations get complicated because they create three categories of home. The higher the category, the more accessible the home must be to wheelchair users, and the category can be set by the planners when they grant permission for a new home to be built. This is why I didn't talk about new homes in this video. The number and size of bathrooms in a new home in England depend on whether the planners want to create more accessible homes in that area. If the home is placed in category 2 or 3, these require additional bathrooms depending on the number of bedrooms and stories in the property. But if you own a house and you want to extend it, these rules don't apply. Whether you are in England or Scotland, you won't be forced to install a bathroom. It's only when you choose to install one where there wasn't one before that the rules come into play. One thing you must not do when altering an existing home is make it worse than it was before. For example, if the principal living area has a bathroom, you can't downgrade that to a small WC, even if that WC meets the sizes asked for in the regs. That might claw back some extra space for the kitchen or living rooms, but it does this by removing bathing facilities on that floor of the house, thus making it worse. What happens if I convert a building into a dwelling? There are lots of old buildings in the UK, and given the price of homes, it's becoming more common to convert these into dwellings. Let me give you a real-world example. A few years back, the owner of this Victorian shop in Edinburgh asked me to convert it into a luxury flat. The shop had a basement with a toilet, but the basement wasn't the ideal place for the kitchen and living space. The entrance floor was really tall. It had enough space for a mezzanine level, so we created the new kitchen and living space on that floor. This made it the principal level in the new home, so that meant we had to create a sanitary facility on that floor. We could not get away with keeping the bathroom in the basement. The building regulations required us to create a sanitary facility, in this case a shower room, on the main living level. Now, this may seem reasonable when converting a shop that was never meant to be a home, but you can fall into a trap if you buy an old building that was originally a private home but since changed to an office. Many British cities are full of old townhouses that were originally built as private homes but sold off in the 1960s when inheritance tax hit 80%. In Edinburgh, many of these properties became offices for lawyers and accountants, but recently they've been bought by people wanting to turn them back into private homes again. The building regulations don't care if an old property was originally designed as a home, they only care about its most recent use. So if it's an office today and you buy it tomorrow to use as your home, the current bathroom might be in the wrong place and you will need to install a sanitary facility on the principal living level. Are the UK building regulations too strict? At this point, you might be thinking, it's a private home, why are the government telling me what to do? Now, I've been dealing with the building regulations in the UK for over 20 years, and they've been changed and upgraded many times. It can be a full-time job keeping up with this, and I understand if people get overwhelmed and frustrated by the system. The thing is, the building regulations are minimum standards. This is the least you can do when developing a property. The building regulations don't mention underfloor heating, walk-in wardrobes, marble worktops, or utility rooms. These are things that are not required by the regulations, but any developer selling homes to wealthy clients knows they need to include them. When creating homes for the rest of society, especially those at the bottom of the economic ladder, developers have historically been very stingy. There are people alive today who might remember shared outdoor toilets. Without minimum standards, property developers will go back to that in a heartbeat. Our regulations are far from perfect, and the system can be a nightmare to deal with, even for professionals, but we need minimum standards. What have we learned about bathrooms? If you have a 2-story house and the only bathroom is on the upper floor, you won't have to install a new facility on the ground floor. But if you do want a toilet on the ground floor, it must comply with the diagrams in the regs. If you have a property with a toilet on the ground floor and that floor has the kitchen and living space, your options are limited. You can renovate the toilet, but if you want to move it, you have to create a new facility on the same floor and it will need to be large enough to comply. Interestingly, the Scottish building regulations give the option to not install a shower if you don't want to. This only applies if there's a shower or bath somewhere else in the property. You just have to create space for a shower to be installed in the future, and that space doesn't have to be in the same room as the toilet. I used that option in this project. The full story is in my last video and there's a link in the description. You can see the toilet and wash basin in this room, and the drawings have space for a future shower here with the drainage and extractor installed. This allows the toilet to be as small as possible and the pantry to be as large as possible. If you buy a property that isn't a dwelling and you want to convert it into a home, you can open a can of worms. You will have to make sure the principal living level has a sanitary facility that complies with the sizes noted in the regulations. Keep in mind that if you buy a house that has work done by the previous owner and they didn't get proper approvals, you could be required to make changes to bring the house up to standard. The legislation behind the building regulations places sole responsibility for compliance on the owner of the building. The moment you become the owner, you are liable for any problems that arise and you can't blame the previous owner. This often affects people who buy homes for cash but don't have a survey carried out for a mortgage. So the problem doesn't emerge until the new owner tries to remortgage the house to release equity or when there's a serious insurance claim. The best thing to do is take advice before you buy a property, or as early as possible if you're thinking of altering your home. If you would like my advice about your project, no matter where you are in the UK, check out the reallifearchitecture.co.uk website. You can book a consultation with me and get specific advice about your property. There's a link in the description, and please read the terms and conditions before you book. If you found this video useful, check out this playlist and be sure to drop a like. It really helps the channel.